the time we'll finish and the project is officially received, that you people have to start consuming it at the level of the village, you people must put down the modalities for maintenance and to take care for the water project committee members. Please, if we do like that, many other things can come from this water project. So that is my humble plea. At the level of the village, you people will agree. I would also like to have the feedback that you people have agreed that maintenance fees, how much. I want to know who is going to be in the office. Who is going to be in the office there, in the water project office. We'll see how we are going to equip it. Make sure we have files there and keep some historic documents. Pa, you told me that there's a map on the plumbing connection of that water project. Such a map will be pasted on the wall of the water project office. Because it's going to be there for posterity.
Yeah.
We are around the intake of Mbemi water project, which is supplying the village for now. The first technician who constructed this thing is of late, but he didn't do it well. So when it came to my own regime, I came and then discovered that he had constructed the intake poorly. So I corrected the errors which were there. The errors are, he built the water without giving, you see pipes there. Okay. Those pipes are where the water breathes, because water breathes like a human being. You cannot hold somebody's nose and hold his mouth and expect him to live. So that's why when they were constructing, it was always breaking down. But when I took over, I had to construct and put all these vent pipes for easy air circulation in the intake. Then from there, the water comes directly to this filtration tank here, where the filtration tank is divided into two parts. The other one is for water to settle there and drop the particles of sand that it has brought from the source. And then when water is filtered, it is now piped to the next tank down there, which is the first catchment. Mm-hmm. Yes.
In which year did the Mbemi people start this water project, sourcing water from here in Mam?
It was around 1995 that the project began. And until when we came handicraft with finance, we had to be pleading for the government to give us a helping hand. And it is now that the government has given us money. You can see the fence, which is fenced round, is through the area of the government. Okay. And we've developed so many things there through the aid that the government has given. We've put a lot of filters, we put floaters in the tanks, which control the tanks.
What about the water level in the dry season? Does it dry off?
No, completely. It doesn't get dry. Within the rainy season, there's always overflow. And in the dry season, the water table drops a bit, but it gives still enough water for the village to drink.
We are right at the top of a hill. As an expert in the field of plumbing, what can we say are the factors favoring this water source from here? Is it the rocks, the trees around, or what?
Thank you for that question. What favors this water here? There's a raffia bush up there, okay, up the hills there. There's a raffia bush which drags water from the ground and sends to this channel. Where we are now, the water comes right from the raffia bush up there. Raffia bush is the plant that absorb water from the ground and collect water to the source, where we can carry water from there and do many things.
Why was this place fenced with barbed wire? Have there been instances of maybe animals and humans trying to vandalize the place?
Well, we've really fenced it because there are people walking around, and we've asked them not to walk around. They should give some gap. So they were not even observing that. That's why we fenced the place, so that they need not come too close to the intake. Okay. And that we don't want illegal control of the place. We want the whole place to be under control.
Talking about safety of the water, have there ever been instances of probably pipe-borne water diseases, or it is purely natural and you don't even purify it as it comes from the ground? That's how it is being consumed in Mbemi?
Well, we had been suffering from typhoid throughout the past times, and for now it is the thing of the past, because now that we already have this water, we do not more have typhoid. We don't have things like worms and all those diseases that come from water. We do not more observe them.
Is the water being treated before being consumed, or as it is leaving from here at the source, it goes directly to the stand taps in the villages?
It goes right to the tank, where we also control it with drugs.
Okay.
Yes, we control it with drugs so that the water could still be more purified than being natural. Though it is clean as it is, but naturally we need to at least make it quite sure. First catchment, where we have to filter the water from the catchment before we send it to the storage tank. This chamber here is water, and if this is overflow, shows that there's enough water in the catchment. This is where the waste is draining, because this pipe carries the water which goes to the storage tank.
So this one flowing down here is waste?
It's waste, it's overflow. That is, it's more than they require. We are still in Mam. After the first catchment, we have this break tank, because the water comes from up there with speed, so we have to limit the speed here. It should not break pipes, because if we allow the force which is coming from up there to continue, the pipes will normally be destroyed. So the water comes and settles here, and after that it now flows gently down to the valley.
Okay. Yeah. Meaning that without this tank, many pipes will have been breaking on daily basis.
Will be breaking on the way. And
there are some villages or communities with water projects that from time to time they suffer pipe breakages.
That's it.
It's as a result of such a
system that they built without putting brake tanks on the way.
Okay.
We limit the speed here. This is just like a speed limit, that it should not be too fast, because if it goes fast, it breaks. It destroys. Some villages used to stay for 2-3 days or even a week without water, just because of lack of breakdown. We are in the part of Nyen. This is the first tank that we had before the government came in to give us a helping hand on the second phase, on this second phase which we are treating now.
And from the information we are seeing written on the tank, Nyen Mbemi water project realized from the 19th of February to the 30th of May 2002, thanks to donors who were Plan Cameroon, Sata, Helvetas, Mekuda, and Community Development, that is Minagri. So before it was a joint combination for Nyen and Mbemi?
Yes. These were the people who supported the project when it was still at the rural level. When we had these donors who gave us this helping hand, we realized the first aid, or the first part of the project, which was supplying us, but finally it did not supply the whole village. Part of this village was left out. There were about 3/4 that was left out without water. But now that government has given us help, and we are able to realize these other quarters which were lacking. So these quarters have now come in to enjoy the pipe-borne water to join the rest of the village which was lacking of water.
What is the capacity of this tank? Any idea? Can you estimate?
This tank is 18 cubic liters of water.
Okay.
Yes.
And we are seeing a pipe on the tank protruding outside. What is its use?
This pipe here, as you see it, is a vent pipe for the tank to breathe, because we cannot just close the tank without giving it a breathing space.
Okay.
That's the use of this pipe. And why we have put it in this way, as you see it curved like that, it is because we protect it from stray persons that they can come and, in fact, disconnect the tank, or they
maybe put something inside.
Something inside which can be poisonous to the public.
What is the risk involved when the tank doesn't breathe?
It gives way. It can break, because when the air is tight in it and it has no space, the tank cannot more circulate, and normally it will break.
These trees that we find around the tank, are they just natural trees growing a while, or they were being planted?
These plants, these are water-friendly trees.
Okay.
We planted them here to safeguard the surrounding of this tank, so that the water will remain fresh and always cool. It should not get hot. That's why even you see we put the tank, but underground tank. It's not a lifted tank which is in the air. This is an underground tank. And if you carry water from here, it is just as if you are using the freezer.
Okay.
Yes.
Along the way, on the track where the pipes have been buried, we saw peace plants. Are they for boundary demarcation or for a different purpose?
Those peace plants that you see along the pipeline are for us to, in fact, know where the pipe has passed. They are for demarcation of where the pipe has passed. So when they are doing any project around, you come to where you see the peace plant, you already know that you are around where there is a pipeline passing.
With this latest support for the rehabilitation of the Mbemi water project you got from the government of Cameroon, we learned you have done some gymnastics with the water. That part of it now passes through this tank and part goes directly to the village. Can you explain about that? Because you said something earlier on that in the dry season the water volume drops, and so from this tank it cannot supply all the waters in the village, but the technique you've brought is that some water flows directly without passing through this tank.
Yes. In this tank we have affixed a floater which controls water. If the tank is full, it locks that other water should not be entering here, but it will be passing but outward. So each time when we want to wash this tank, the village do not realize that they are doing any project on the tank, because the water bypasses the tank and goes for usage when we are washing this tank.
How frequent is the tank being washed?
We wash the tank quarterly.
Okay.
Yes, quarterly. That is every 3 months we wash the tank. After 3 months we wash the tank. After 3 months we wash the tank.
How is the washing done? With soap, soft sponge, or chemicals, or what?
We use foam and things like eau de javel,
okay,
to keep the tank clean. And after washing, we also apply a bit of it as we were trained to disinfect the water.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is where the treatment of the Mbemi water is being done?
It's being done here.
Okay.
Yes. We do it here and in the other tank which is there, because water bypasses this tank and goes directly to that other tank.
So there are now 2 tanks.
There we have 2 tanks for
serving the village.
Serving the village.
Okay. In they both serve as backup. In the failure of one, the other one takes command.
over. Yeah. As it is going like that, it goes out to the soak away pit which is down there.
Okay.
And that's how we've constructed most of this new taps that we put them up. Yes, we've done that. So that as it goes, you don't feel the water.
The soak away enters the ground.
It just enters the soak away there directly and is there. If you want to do laundry, you carry your water from here and go right to your house.
Why? What's the purpose? Why that?
We don't want the surroundings to be contaminated with soap or other things. You know, this thing like cement does not like the acid which is in soap.
Okay.
Yes. So if you disobey and come to wash your dresses here, you have a penalty to pay. You pay 2,000 francs. And if you pay 2,000 francs, or we disconnect the water, and when you are reconnecting it back, you have to pay the sum of 5,000 francs. We've constructed this with a difference is because this is the one in the palace. There are other taps existing in the palace, but there was no public tap for the palace. Okay. This is the real public tap for the palace which we've constructed now. We are now in Jinano, where we constructed this tank which we are standing on it. It is about 10,000 cubic liters of collection of water storage. Okay. It serves to supply Jinano, Jinete, and part of Mbemi with water. Okay. So that's where our cry was, because we hadn't enough storage tank, and the other tank was not capable of supplying the whole village as a whole.
So everything here is new and it's government support?
Everything here is new and it's government support with the 4 new taps that we've built. Okay. Yes, that's what the renovation for now has brought to us. And it has relieved us, because the people here had been suffering, but for now, the problem has come to an end. This is the storage tank. We are seeing it from the inner part of the tank. But it's not possible for us to see directly into the tank because we needed a ladder here. So it is still under construction. But you can see that while here, everything is quite clear and befitting the project.
What was the involvement of the population in this work?
In fact, the population came out and helped us a bit in transporting materials to the side where it was not motorable. Okay. And they gave us a bit of relief by carrying sand, though not all the sand, but just partly. We bought part of it.
The first tank that was built should be in the 90s.
Yes.
Compared to this one that is built in 2021. Will this one also last as compared to the other one, the durability of this tank?
The durability of this tank is going to last even longer than that other one, because the equipment used here are gotten from a good source, and with the new technology which we applied to it, we are sure. Okay. They built the other tanks, they were not using Sicalate, but we built this one using chemicals like Sicalate, which has to be water resistant and to let it last longer.
What were some of the challenges encountered in the course of executing this water project?
The difficulties are many. Some are means of transporting materials from from where they are to the site. Then some we were even attacked by
non-state armed fighters.
The non-state armed fighters, who even took me away from here and then detained me for a night before releasing me under bail. Okay. Yes.
Now, you are the brain behind the Mbemi water project. You are a plumber and electrician, yes, trained in the good old days, sure, with good technical expertise. You are aging out. Tomorrow you will no longer be there. What measures have you put in place to ensure sustainability, that when Pa Oscar will no longer be there, the population of Mbemi village will not have water crisis?
I have a team which have been given to me by the village. I'm training them to at least pick up the job from where I've stopped, and to take care and sustain the project last long.
What about your evaluation of those you've been training? Are they really putting the desired efforts that you expected from them, or they are just playing with it?
No, they are serious. It's only a question of finances that they want payment. To me, I was working as a free citizen and to give my own contribution for development. But for these children now, they need money, but we are still pressing that we will find a means. If need way be, we can get some small finance from somewhere and fortify them. Because you know now, children rely mostly on money. Everything is only money, all through.
Before such projects are realized in a rural community like this during this crisis period, there should be some brains behind it. Are there some people you want to extend a special vote of thanks to for ensuring the successful realization of this?
In fact, I would rather say praises be to our Honorable Member of Parliament who has made this project to be a reality, and we've realized it.
And she's acting under the capacity of the Vice President of the Mbemi Cultural and Development Association, BEDECA.
Yes, she is the Vice President, and she's taking care of the whole system. Even besides being the parliamentarian, she is the brain behind the whole project. Without her, we could not have realized what it is. And we also give thanks to the administration who also supported us whenever we were transporting this material, because sometimes we come to where there's control. They always say they don't want people to be carrying rods around. They don't want us to do this. But when we consult the administration, they gave us the green light to go ahead with the project.
Many such water projects are materialized in communities, and within the shortest possible time, they fail. People still go without water. What accounts for the successful execution of this Mbemi water project, as you are assuring us that it will last, there will be no failure?
In fact, the thing is, I have done the project because it is my project, and I'm leaving out a mark behind, so that even if I'm not, the villagers will know that somebody had existed as a technician like me in the village, and that was the contribution I did to the village.